the victims bore out the fact that they had been partially devoured.
Mr. President, in your recent budget, just to make sure I understand, you're asking for a $50 billion emergency defense supplemental to protect America from zombies.
I believe this is the great challenge of the beginning of the 21st century.
Zombies.
Zombies. At first, they were merely cinematic villains designed to entertain and amuse us.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
They delighted us with their vacant stares, their clumsy walking, and their dreadful personal hygiene. But what exactly is a zombie?
A zombie, by folk definition, is a living dead. It's an individual who has been magically brought to his end, only to be somehow magically resuscitated, always, it's said, to be led away to a life of enslavement.
Without any warning.
I am petrified of zombies. As far as all the movie monsters go, they scare me the most. I think it's because they're a walking disease.
Cause mutation.
They're us. They're us, man. An unfulfilled life. That's why they're so horrifying. You get one chance in life, and you never got to do what you wanted, and you had to make money to get by, and zombies are us.
Feast upon the flesh.
When I see a creature with no light behind the eyes, and yet an incredible will to do nothing except tear the flesh from my bones, I say, that's a zombie.
With all due respect, Mr. President, are you sure this wasn't a movie you saw? I mean, why?
Because they're real.
Yeah, but why
And it's a danger to the American people. It's a danger to your children, Jim.
Sorry, my name is Barry.
There are three phases to the zombie film in cinema. It started out with stuff like the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, White Zombie, I Walked with the Zombies. Those films sort of looked at zombies in a different way. They were sort of the somnambulist, or the being controlled, the mind slave. They become mindless zombies. That all changed, obviously, in 1968 when George Romero made Night of the Living Dead, because the zombies became more of a menace, like a mindless menace that was out to physically harm us and consume us. That's when they became really scary.
I had written a short story which I ripped off from a Richard Matheson novel called I Am Legend, which I thought was about revolution, except he started when the whole world had changed. There was one man left.
George Romero always says that he never invented the idea of zombies and Night of the Living Dead. He says he stole it. Richard Matheson wrote a great book called I Am Legend. It's one of my favorites, and it's sort of a siege story about the rest of the world being taken over by vampires, and there's one solitary human being, and he's barricaded himself in his home, and he's trying to fend off the invading swarms of vampires.
Richard Matheson's novel, I Am Legend, is enormously influential in the development of the zombie movie. There are three direct adaptations of it. There is The Last Man on Earth with Vincent Price, and it was remade as The Omega Man. Also an interesting movie because it tries to deal with certain racial tensions in America at that time. And then finally you have the Will Smith movie, I Am Legend, which is certainly the great big honking version of this story. It's got special effects, it's got big actor in Will Smith, and it's the story of one man who is the only survivor of some kind of zombie virus.
And I had never thought of them as zombies in Night of the Living Dead. They were flesh eaters. I didn't want to do vampires. And I said, well, I need a creature. And I said, okay, somebody who just, the dead aren't staying dead. And when they come back, they are hungry, and they want to eat live flesh.
It's undeniable that he is the grandfather of the zombie film as we know it today, because of Night of the Living Dead.
As the zombie horror genre continued to grow, filmmakers began to explore the dark humor in the undead.
You look like shit.
And then I guess the third phase was around Return of the Living Dead, when zombies ceased to become scary anymore because they gave them a voice, they allowed them to talk and make jokes, and you know, ever since they really haven't been scary.
They still have that. Yeah.
The thing about funny zombie movies is it is really, really hard to do. And frankly, that's why everybody was so absolutely astonished by Shaun of the Dead. Because not only is it very, very funny, first of all, it's also quite a sharp piece of social commentary. I mean, it does suggest in a very straightforward way that a lot of people are sleepwalking through their lives. They're dead above the neck, even though they're not actually dead.
There are obviously comedies in Fido. There's kind of a wicked little simmering subplot where Carrie-Anne Moss's character is obviously smitten with her zombie, Billy Connolly. So you can't help but look at the genre from that angle, because there's just so much fun, interesting, wicked, absurd stuff to explore there.
And did you know that they have 6 zombies? 6! And when his wife asked me how many we had, I didn't know what to say.
Fido is a comedy in the sense that it is funny, but it's very, very specifically satirical. It's a movie that uses a kind of wry humor to expose certain social hypocrisies, to poke fun at them with the intent of revealing them for the hypocrisies they are.
Paradoxically, although dead, zombies continue to evolve.
Die-hard zombie fans have broken zombies down into a lot of subsections. When you come right down to it, there are 2 kinds of zombies. There are zombies who are self-driven. They've come back from the grave for one reason or another, in one way or another, and are compelled to eat flesh. And then there are the mind control zombies. Someone has brought them back and is using bodies to do something that they want.
See, it wants me.
They're just dead flesh.
Then you get into the whole fast-moving versus slow-moving zombies, which absolutely is a conversation that any horror movie fan has had at least one time or another.
Run! The slow, lumbering Romero zombies, as people call them, are always going to be more effective. They're not going to get you with speed, they're going to get you with numbers. And so there's more of a tension there because they're coming closer and closer.
I don't like running zombies. I don't think zombies should run.
There's the George Romero slow zombie, and of course the Zack Snyder fast zombie. Being on both sides and having perspective, I don't want to wade into that. Wow.
I mean, I saw bumper stickers, fast zombies suck. Okay? I don't know whether George put those bumper stickers out or not.
My guys are slow, they will always be slow.
His idea, if you're dead, you're continuing to be dead. You're continuing to disintegrate or rot, you know. You don't become superheroes, you know.
It also doesn't make physiological sense, too, because their muscles and their sinews, or all their muscle insertions and attachments have all now rotted and disconnected from their bones.
In the original, there were key zombies. The nun zombie, the baseball player zombie. You got to see the zombies. In the remake, fast and ugly.
It is that absolute lack of humanity that terrifies me.
They're gonna get you anyway, because they never stop. They're relentless.
For other monsters, you usually have to go find them. You have to go to the castle, you have to go under the pyramid or into the swamp. And my attitude is, if you do, well, that's your problem.
They're just dead flesh.
Whereas you can be sitting here minding your own business, and suddenly you hear the moan and the door breaks down and there's 100 zombies.